Okay, we are good to go. Welcome everybody. So glad to see you. Thank you for joining us live. If you do join us live, we'll just kind of wait a little bit till some people can hop on. Today I wanted to go over our top 3 things of what we really feel would be important that you do or work on prior to returning to strength training and lifting weights. So taking someone from that distance from I've been injured, it was really bad, it's now not so bad. I mean, it still hurts, it's intermittent, comes and goes. Maybe I get occasional leg or back symptoms, maybe I get occasional arm symptoms. And then I want to return to strength training and exercises. So how do I do that? How do I do that safely? How do I do that without fear of re-injury? How do I make sure I'm doing the things that I'm supposed to do and not do the things that I'm not supposed to do? Or what is the correct that maybe I should feel it's acceptable, and what maybe is one that's not? So here's how we would do it. So for those that don't know us, my name is Dr. Erickson, physical therapist, EHS, physical therapy chiropractic, as well as the Herniated Disc Fix online coaching program.
Yeah.
And I'll give you the mic here.
Perfect. And I'm Dr. Anderson with Essential Motion Chiropractic.
So when we talk about how to return to that, the first thing we would do is definitely a proper warm-up. So a dynamic, full body, get the body moving warm-up is essential. You can't just go in and just dive right into the heavy weights like you used to. Maybe you used to, maybe you didn't, but understanding how to warm the body up properly, get the blood flowing, get oxygen going, that's number one. So give me some examples of some dynamic warm-ups and kind of even mimicking those movements with very light, if not body weight movement. So if I want to do barbell squats, right? Maybe I just go with just body weight squats first, or maybe I use like a TRX band or suspension trainers like this, and I use my arms to kind of help me and get some movement going first, but I'm not using any weight. Give us some other examples there.
Yeah, so I like to do like a full body, just kind of like get moving. I like to start my workouts with a jog. So I'll just do like a little walk and then start working into a jog and then do like a half-mile run. But you can do just leg kicks, glute kicks. You can just do like some active lunges back and forth. Just getting the full body moving and starting to use those muscles that you're trying to activate and you're going to be loading in those exercises. When you get into those more compound movements, like you're wanting to get ready for a squat day, you can either grab the bar. In this case, I'm just going to grab a light kettlebell here. Hook this up to me so I can hear while I'm doing this. So I like to just grab a weight of some kind, and it doesn't have to be a ton. You can just grab a plate, 35 pounds, and you'll just come down and into that squat position and just sit into that bottom position, and you can just kind of rock back and forth to open up through the hips, gain some mobility through those ankles before you add more weight. You want to be fluid through these movements, and you don't want to be overloading or overstressing anything just because you've got some stiffness in those joints. And this can be applied to any movement. If you're doing bench press, you can start with just the bar, or you can just do push-ups. Just start lighter and then slowly build up to the point where you're comfortable with adding in more weight.
The other thing, I like to jog and run too. It actually makes me feel better, and it loosens me up. But if jogging or running is of concern, or if it's a little bit scary yet, that's fine. Start with a walk. Walk straight ahead. Walk sideways on the treadmill, walk backwards, retro, right? So using multiple joints, I would get really light, probably maybe 2.5 pound little plates or 5 pound plates. Roll the arms around, get a full body warm up to where you're starting to sweat a little bit. It's at least you need kind of warm up. And then I would do whatever movement or stretch or exercise that you have found to be your primary exercise. So if it's for a neck issue, because I saw Eve was watching it could possibly be, retraction, extension, getting back there, making sure you get some good, stretching and getting yourself opened up. Maybe we get our arm on a door and kind of stretch and open up the pec and the anterior shoulder. If it's for the back, maybe we make sure that we lightly, get a little bit of flexion. Be careful with that one usually. A little bit of extension. Maybe we lie on the mat and we do some extension, in lying. Maybe we lie on all fours, hands and knees, kind of reach through, get some rotation, some thread the needle or some knees side to side. Just a good warm-up, okay? That's number one. Number two, modify any of your favorite exercises with either a simpler version, but always err on the side of like free weights and closed chain things as opposed to machines. So instead of say you wanted to do like a barbell squat, like Jake wanted to say, well, I'm gonna squat heavy, I'm gonna put the barbell on my back, and that's what I want to do. Well, we're not ready for that quite yet. So maybe what we should do is, like Jake had before, maybe we should use a kettlebell, offset to one side or goblet style. And we can still get the squat in without having to use the heavier weight, loading and compressing the back. And I would still choose this method, right, over using a machine like a leg press.
Machines don't require the same stability that you do when you're using free weights because you have to recruit more muscles and you have to stabilize more than when you're just moving in one plane of motion.
Yes, that's what we would prefer, to just modify that movement or exercise that you want to do with something a little bit simpler version. And maybe like you said, in front, that kicks in the abs more. You got to stabilize more. You're working on your core muscles more. Or maybe we go offset, where we got just at one side, and we're still going to squat. We're just offset. So now I got to kick in my stabilizing muscles and my core a lot more. So that would be number 2.
Just as long as you're aware of them. So even if you know, like, especially if you have like a low back pain, anything bent over and flexion base is going to irritate your low back. So if you're doing, some bent over rows, you can pretty well predict that that's going to hurt your low back. Well, you can just, like Chris said earlier, we can modify that or just reassess how you feel after. It may not be right away after too. It could be the next day that you feel the pain. Well, just know that you've got your movement you can fall back on to do in between sets. So even if you're trying to work back into something, say rows is something you want to work back into, and you know this is going to aggravate you a little bit, go through your set, and then you can drop down and work through whatever movement that you've been given that you know modifies you and makes you better.
We never gave everybody a single arm press up before.
I know I was trying to do it and hold the mic, but yeah, a double arm press.
And I don't know where I lost us at, but my camera went funny. So we have to go. Let's just go through the number 2 and 3 again, because I lost some people there for a bit. It's back on. So just briefly, we'll kind of go through it. One, I think most everybody saw the first one, which was the proper warm-up, dynamic warm-up. Get yourself moving, get yourself sweating. Make sure you assess, kind of how you feel. Get that essentially that pre-test. Like, where am I at? Where are my symptoms? Then number 2, modify any of the favorite exercises that you like to do, that you want to get back to doing. Don't jump back into them necessarily. Like if it's a loaded like back squat or a loaded barbell deadlift, some of those ones may not be appropriate right away. So modify them to to kettlebells, to dumbbells, to TRX bands, to body weight. So modifying, use a lighter weight, but err on the side of using free weights as opposed to machines. Don't falsely believe that, well, if I can't do a squat with a barbell, I'll do a machine like leg press instead. That may not be better for you. That actually may flare things up because it makes you flex more. When in reality, if you just kept your feet on the ground and modified with a kettlebell, or maybe a kettlebell between the legs, or holding it up here like a goblet squat, you can still work the legs in a modified way, and you're actually building more back towards the thing you want to do, as opposed to starting with a machine. It's a bigger jump to have to go from a machine to the barbells. And then that was number 2. Number 3 was then to consistently, not maybe say constantly, I mean consistently, be aware, consistently reassess yourself. So figure out what happened, how did I feel before the movement? What happened to my pain, the location, the intensity, my mechanics, how did I move during the movement? And then reassess after. Okay, did it quickly calm down? Am I no worse? Can I still bend? Can I still move and turn? Nothing down the leg, nothing down the arm. That's lasting. Then it's just fine. It's a yellow light. Continue. Keep trying different sets and different angles until we figure out what's really working well for you. So remember those 3 things when returning to strength training and weightlifting. All right. Thanks a lot, guys. Everybody have a good weekend.